In the small town of Willow Creek, a series of gruesome murders had been taking place. Each victim was found with their eyes gouged out, leaving a chilling trail of terror in the community. The townspeople whispered of a killer with a thirst for blood and a twisted obsession with eyes. One fateful night, the killer struck again, this time targeting a family of 4. The parents were found dead in their bed, their eyes missing, while their 2 young children were nowhere to be found. The police launched a massive manhunt, but only one of the children was ever found alive. David, a timid and innocent little boy, was discovered hiding in a nearby forest, his eyes wide with fear. He was the only survivor of the killer's wrath, and the townspeople were baffled as to why he had been spared. Some whispered that he must have made a deal with the devil, while others believed he was somehow connected to the killer. As David was taken in by a kind-hearted family in the town, strange things began to happen. He would wake up in the middle of the night, screaming in terror, claiming to see a shadowy figure lurking in the corners of his room. His new parents dismissed it as nightmares, but David knew the truth. The killer had spared him for a reason, and now he was being haunted by the malevolent spirit of the murderer. The town was gripped with fear as more bodies turned up, each missing their eyes. David knew that he was the key to stopping the killer, but he was just a little boy, terrified and alone. One night, as the killer closed in on his next victim, David found the courage to confront the evil that had been haunting him. Armed with nothing but a flashlight and his wits, he ventured into the darkness of the forest where he had been found, determined to put an end to the madness once and for all. As he crept through the shadows, he could feel the killer's presence growing stronger. The air was thick with the stench of death, and the sound of rustling leaves seemed to echo his every step. Finally, he came face to face with the killer, a twisted figure with empty sockets where his eyes should have been. With a trembling hand, David shone his flashlight on the killer's face, revealing a grotesque mask of madness and malice. The killer lunged at him, but David stood his ground, his heart pounding in his chest. In a moment of pure instinct, he reached out and ripped off the killer's mask, revealing the face of a man he had never seen before. The townspeople gasped in horror as they recognized the man as a local recluse who had disappeared years ago. He had been driven mad by his obsession with eyes, and now his spirit had possessed David, using him as a vessel to carry out his twisted deeds. With a final scream of rage, the killer's spirit was banished from David's body, leaving the little boy shaken but alive. The town breathed a collective sigh of relief as the nightmare finally came to an end. But as David looked into the mirror, he saw a glint of madness in his own eyes, a reminder of the darkness that had once consumed him. The eye of the killer had spared him, but it had left its mark on his soul forever. And as he gazed into the abyss, he knew that the horror was far from over.